Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Kaminsky, and I'm the Fab Lab manager of the Lakeshore Fab Lab, which is part of Muskegon Community College. And you can see my background behind me. That's actually the Lakeshore Fab Lab, which is downtown across from Hackley Park. So if you ever wondered what was in that old Masonic Temple building, it is part of the college, but we're actually like a community makerspace. Best way to think about us is like a gym membership combined with like shop class. People can come in and have access to tools, and we do a lot of stuff what we did before this pandemic stuff, right? A lot of stuff with schools and kids and inventors, entrepreneurs, young, old, kind of community involvement projects. And I'm going to talk a lot about different stuff today, just so you can kind of get an idea for the vast variety of things that have happened and could happen at the Fab Lab. There's not a week that goes by and during normal operation where somebody doesn't come in and be like, is this possible? And we're like, I don't know, let's try it. So I have a presentation here I will show you. Let's see. Let's start this guy over. All right, so hopefully if I'm doing this whole thing right, you'd think 7-8 months of Zoom now we'd be pros at it, right? But that's me. Sitting in at the Fab Lab, you can scan that QR code to get some information to reach out to me or the Fab Lab. And we've been open for about 3 years now. It'll be this year in December when I took the position to get the place going. And then this year, or 2021 in June, will be 3 years of operation. So that is the facility right across from Hackley Park. And you can kind of see the entrance under the words, the Roxana-Cola Entrepreneurial Institute, since we do a lot with kind of the entrepreneurial community. And the bottom left picture is a picture of like the main lab space area. Right now it's set up for social distancing, and we have to shut that down. Unfortunately, we can't have anybody in person anymore, but hope to get around this soon, right? So that's another angle of the inside space. The top picture shows pretty much a couple weeks after I had started, about 3 years ago. And the bottom was probably within a year or two after, probably within 2 years after operation. And even now the pictures are different. So first things first, when people think of makerspaces and making, they think 3D printing nowadays. And we have a bunch of different technologies from hobbyist level machines. So we have Creality CR10s, which I use at home, and they're great. We have Prusa Mark IIs, which I have one at home, and it's really good. And those are kind of our hobbyist base level machines, kind of an easy way to jump in and learn the technology and play around with stuff that's not too crazy expensive. But we also have professional grade Stratasys machines as well. So on the top right, we have a couple Stratasys U prints. Those print ABS plastic and dissolvable support material, and they're just really high resolution. They do one material and they do that really well. And then the bottom left, kind of the crown jewel of the space, the Fortis 450, it has a very big build space, and it can do, about a dozen different grades of engineering grade plastics. And all the technologies we use are filament based. So it's basically plastic on a spool, kind of like a weed whacker. It feeds it in, melts it, and there you go. The Fortis, it can do high temperature, high pressure materials, high strength. It can do polycarbs, ABS. It can do ASA. It can do this material, aerospace material called Ultem, which is like a crazy expensive material to use, but this machine can print at the high temperatures that are required for that material. So if you're not familiar with filament-based technologies, I just have a fun video that I took at the lab a while back. So we put some googly eyes on a printer, right? Googly eyes make everything better. Okay, here we go. Some fun pictures. These are some fun projects. So I am big into cosplay. So I have in the bottom right, Magneto's helmet that I've made at home. I have top right, Thor's hammer, which is actually made in the Fab Lab. And bottom left is Baby Yoda. I printed that at home on the same CR10 that we have at the Fab Lab. So that was done in sections, and it's big. The other things are too, cookie cutters are a very popular entry point for people getting into 3D printing. They're like, whoa, I can make custom cookie cutters? Yep, you can. And then, Halloween decorations, like the pumpkin there with cool lights in it. And not everything is all baby Yodas, right? So we do have actual practicality projects that come through. This gentleman came in with a part for a bushing for an old Chevy, a 1930 Chevy, and we helped him kind of, well, he had somebody else reverse engineer the 3D file for him, but we helped him print on the bigger high-end 3D printers some replacements that I haven't heard him. He hasn't been back, so I think they've stood up. This young gentleman, he was kind of our first customer for our high-end 3D printing. He came in with a furniture design that he needed some prototypes for, and he actually gave me like he was from Germany, so he gave me like some German chocolate. This was a project that a young lady came in. She had been a dental hygienist for a lot of years, and she has this idea for a tool to help with dental cleanings, and that's the prototypes that we made for her. This was one from one of our volunteer community members. He owned some rental properties and he needed a solution to spray some wasp killer really high up, but he didn't want to be on the ladder right in front of him as he sprayed them. So this was a solution that Daniel Snow in our Fab Lab helped him come up with, and it's all 3D printed. It's pretty sweet. I guess it worked pretty good. Large companies have come to us too. SAF Holland, they needed parts for a trade show. They do fifth wheel and truck, like big truck components. And this was a product they were going to demo at a trade show, and they needed parts real quick. They were going to go somewhere else, and it was going to require a really high lead time on shipping. So the part on the top left, that part is painted and finished, whereas on the right, you see it's the raw part right off the printer. So you could actually make things look really nice coming off of a 3D printer. This is out front of the Hackley Library. It's an old style lamppost that we worked with, specifically Daniel Snow of the Fab Lab, worked with redesigning in 3D using a program called Onshape, which is CAD, and 3D printing it and painting it and fixing essentially the broken piece. The city of Muskegon came to us with this broken Wiseman. You'll actually see it on display right now if you walk around Hackley Park. So we took 3D printing and some Bondo and paint, and I was able to recreate the hand that broke off. All right, so now we're going to go into laser cutting. This is a video of a laser cutter actually working. Comment that these were for a wedding that a friend of mine did. These are handouts to give away at a wedding. So if you need Christmas ornaments or wedding favor stuff, machines like this at the Fab Lab are great for that kind of thing. Also, if you have a pie and a friend has a 40th birthday party, it's good to do that kind of weird stuff too. Also playing around with laser etching pumpkins. You know, we just like to do weird fun stuff, right? But when it comes down to more of like business or you know, actual practicality, you know, customize Yeti tumblers as handouts, you know, for top clients maybe, or maybe you have golf divots that you can give out to your clients that are, you know, golfing aficionados. And in the bottom right here, this was actually for another wedding, customized growlers for a Fab Lab member's wedding. Here you can see laser etch glasses and kind of like a wine glass holder. So you could etch wine glasses, you can etch pint glasses, you can etch a lot of different types of glasses. You can actually etch wine bottles or liquor bottles for that matter. We've we've done that at the Fab Lab. There was a young boy, he's a couple years ago when we first opened, his name's Kidden, he was 12 years old, and he had an idea. He wanted to save up money for a moped or a dirt bike or something like that. And he actually bought a bunch of glasses wholesale, went to local restaurants in the area, took orders for what people would want on their glasses, be it sports teams or names or slogans. And then he came into the lab, used the laser to fulfill those orders. And I think, gosh, it fleets me now, but I think he made around $1,000 because he bought his mini bike, dirt bike, or whatever he wanted. So, you know, young entrepreneur had an idea and he moved on it. This is Sage's creation. She was part of our homeschool program when that was able to be going, and she created this stand on the laser and the actual earrings too. And she actually has these on display at a store in Grand Haven. So these are laser cut earrings that I think she's 13 or 14, but she started this business just from coming into the Fab Lab for our homeschool group and like, hey, I could actually use this place to make money.